One standings with 4 or 5 times this season he's been amongst the points. He's never done quite what he's going to do now. Skeletic, live in the radio. Yeah. Chris Latcham, take it away.
Well, we're back in. We did this an hour ago. We were just testing it, Lando, an hour ago, and I won. I beat Gaz, who's brought the team. He
so you were practicing, basically?
I was practicing, and I know you've not had a warm-up, but you are racing in the British Grand Prix this weekend.
Yes.
Now, Lando, I've got to ask you, 19 years old, racing in Formula One, the fastest cars in the world, going to some of the best race races in the world. How did it all go so wrong for you?
It went wrong at a very early age. I mean, it took a few steps to get into even go-karts, but it's where it really started. But I did a bit of horse riding when I was 4 years old, then quad biking, then motorbikes, and then finally karting. But around 7 years old is when I fell in love with karting. I love doing it, and that's pretty much what started the whole progression to Formula One.
Now, I'll tell you what, pick up that controller. Let's race in the background. We're going to have an actual race towards the end of the hour. We'll do that in a couple of minutes' time. But just have some ambient sound. We're on the webcam. You can watch, see how good a Formula One driver Lando Norris is at scale extra. All I'm trying to do is stay on the track. Well, we've been talking this morning about Coco Gauff. I know you're not watching Wimbledon. You're probably a bit busy. You've been at the Goodwood Festival of Speed this weekend. She's 15. Absolute starlet of tennis.
Oh, I have heard of it, actually.
Well, she knew from the age of 6, according to a coach that we spoke to this morning, that she wanted to be the best in the world. Did that ring true with you as soon as you realised that it was cars and not horses that you wanted to reach the very top?
I would say so. I think, well, to be honest, it wasn't until I was around, I reckon, 11 or 12 until I realised F1 was my dream and my goal in life, and that's where I crashed.
I'll put you back on. You keep slathering.
I didn't realise till then that's really what I wanted to do, and that was my goal in life.
Yeah.
Because when I started, I wasn't really involved in motorsports. I wasn't brought up around motorsports. So I was just doing a lot for fun and enjoyment. So it was a bit later than 6. It was more 11 or 12 since.
Yeah. And you used to play computer games as well, because I've read comments from you that you said that esports, computer games helped in your ascent to where you've got to now, actually driving the real fast cars around the world. Yeah. Is there a genuine crossover there? How does that work?
There is, and I think it's becoming, or sim racing is becoming more and more realistic.
Sim racing?
Sim racing, or simulators.
Okay.
It's becoming more fine-tuned, more realistic, which is allowing...
Come off
Not very good at this, am I?
No, don't do this at the British Grand Prix this weekend. Thousands watching you, willing you on.
And it's becoming more and more realistic and more like real life, basically. And that's allowing more drivers around the world who aren't in karting or can't afford to do karting, let's say, or car racing, to go on a simulator, hone their skills on that, and then if they do get an opportunity to drive in real life, they can make that transition very easily.
It must be completely different. I mean, if I'm sitting in a simulator, I've done flight simulators, I've done racing simulators before, that's fine, and I'm rubbish at it. But if I was any good, it's completely different, surely, to then going and getting in a Formula 1, 2, 3,000 car and going at 100 miles an hour.
I mean, it is very different. With, I think, 3 main factors. One is fear.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the biggest things. You go from a simulator, you know, if you crash, you just hit the reset button. Whereas in real life, you know, you have a slide at 100 miles an hour, 200 miles an hour. You're not gonna.
You're gonna panic.
You're gonna panic.
Absolutely panic.
You might need a spare pair of pants or something. You never know. So
I never go anywhere without a spare pair.
That's one of the biggest things is fear.
Yeah.
You have G-force on the body, which you don't feel at all.
But you're in pretty good shape, so you need the strength and the upper body
strength. You need the strength. You need neck strength, especially because the G-force is a 6-7G nowadays in Formula One. So it's pretty insane, and those 2 things mainly, but also the cost of everything is very different to actual simulator. You know, if you crash again, it doesn't cost you anything. If you crash in real life,
you're not disappointed in
hundreds of thousands.
I need to ask you about your season, because we've got the British Grand Prix this weekend. You're driving for McLaren and actually having a brilliant debut season. A couple of 5th places, 6th place in qualifying. This must be ahead of the curve of your expectation.
Well, being honest, I didn't really know what to expect coming into my first season, especially because the last few years McLaren have struggled being realistic and truthful, and it was a bit of a turning point over the winter, and we've managed to progress a little bit. Yeah. But you never know until you really get the season going what you can do. So I was a bit, let's say, reserved in terms of my expectations.
Not in driving.
Wow. In terms of results, in the end, everything is going extremely well.
Yeah.
But